CopperAlice here with a very touchy YouTube, which is why I haven't been able to actually do one sitting from my computer in a while. So I guess we're not going to be able to work with that this time. Anyway, on with prompt number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're at prompt number 7 then, which is doll relationships. Alright, first off though, we had our Iowa meet today, the 14th, and I have a floating head now. This is her. She's a custom house Araya. I haven't named her yet. I felt bad though, so I gave her hair and some eyes, and she looks absolutely adorable. Once I figure out how she's going to fit in with everything, the relationship of how she fits in will be on its way. Alright, first when I originally started doing this hobby, I had Katniss, but she ended up, at first I thought I was only going to end up with the one doll just because of finding out how expensive they are. And then so it was just going to be the one, but then I decided that she was probably actually pretty lonely, and ended up getting her, so I ended up getting her a companion, a boy, that she would eventually have, one of the boys, which ended up being Haritsu. So when I got Haritsu, it was only supposed to be those two, but I've been sucked into this hobby, and I'm absolutely loving it. He was supposed to be like her boyfriend or her lover or something like that, but it ended up being something completely different. After Haritsu's arrival, Haritsu ended up, having like a crush on her and stuff like that. He has a really odd way of showing it. He's a little too flamboyant. He's a little flamboyant about it, and almost to the point of being insulting, I guess you could say. Katniss doesn't exactly like him either. Okay, well, I take that back. She does, but she doesn't, not in that kind of a way. He's kind of more like that annoying older brother that shows up around the place and is just there to pester you and bug you and God knows what else. And then eventually I got Aya. And then what Aya ended up being is a blood brother, which I've mentioned before about how they cut their hands and they combine their blood together, and that's how they became blood brothers. So Aya and Hari ended up knowing each other for a very, very, very long time. Obviously with whatnot, with the phylactery thing and whatnot, which I'm just going to have to make a separate video to explain that whole deal. Anyway, Aya knew Katniss from before, 300 years before, when she was still in her time as Salem. She found him when she was little, and he just kind of never left. Eventually, Aya and Katniss became lovers. And that's kind of how that went until they were working on a spell that was supposed to have Katniss sleep for about 1 year. It ended up being 3 years because something went completely wrong, and Aya freaked out beforehand because since she's mortal and he's immortal, one day she would die. So he left after she had fallen asleep, hoping that she would forget about him. And then eventually, after having a conversation with Hari about how he could stand loving so many people and not feel crushed every time somebody dies, my train of thought just derailed. But about loving so many people and not being so crushed when somebody dies. I guess he had grown after a while had grown accustomed to this fact that that everyone dies and it's a natural part of life, but not a natural part of his life. So, after having a long good conversation with Hari about the whole deal, I ended up taking off because he thought he had a lot to think about, and that's why he had been in Ireland for the last 300 years after figuring out that he couldn't find Katniss because something had gone awry with the sleeping spell. So that's why he has the Irish accent, and basically it comes full circle. Katniss comes to live with us after waking up after 300 years sleep, and then Hari comes to live with us after finding out about the Blackhearts. That's me and my fiance. Those are our alternate names that we actually go by. And then Aya came to live with us after figuring out, both in part, that Katniss was still alive, but he had no clue where, and he actually came to hunt down Hari, which is how everything comes full circle. And then Aya meets Katniss again, and then Katniss totally freaks out on him, and that's how she ended up being real upset with him for the longest time. And then up to the most recent photo story, where Aya has decided to let go of Katniss and let her be her own person, and that he's just happy being around her. And Hari here, caught in the middle between it all because of his crush with Katniss and his being a brother to Aya. It just kind of makes an interesting little quirk to everything. Of course, then Aya is also starting to have... Oh, I can't say that. That would ruin part of the photo stories. But with the intertwining mix between mine and Soul's dolls for all of our photo stories, it's got to be interesting. And I'll start showing that in some of the photo stories and whatnot. And once I have her figured out, I will probably be doing another part 2 for this. But who knows? I haven't got it, like I said, I haven't got it all quite figured out. But there we go. Those are the relationships for my dolls for prompt number 7. CopperAlice out.